Hi, I'm Danny Silk. This is Sheri Silk.
Hello.
And we're just coming to you from our Loving on Purpose studio.
Sounds so
I've never
official.
said that before. Actually, we're just doing a series of answering some questions and having a conversation for people that are listening to our voice. I know there are people that are listening to all kinds of different voices, but we want to do what we can to sow into your success in managing your course through all the conversations and all the conflict and anxiety and chaos that's going on today.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and we recognize it, and we're not talking about the actual problems necessarily. We're talking about behind it, or trying to look at it from a different perspective, which is, what do I do with me in the midst of all of this chaos and confusion and fear and hopelessness? And so we would just like to give you some tools and bring hope to you through this conversation.
Because there's a lot of situations that we cannot make any better right now, but we can make them worse.
It's true.
We can make them worse by the way we behave in those situations.
Yeah.
So that's really what we're addressing, is how do you manage you in stuff that is really tempting you to leave your character and your love back there.
Yeah. We were talking earlier about just the level of disrespect and that we have going on, and then what do we do about bringing respect and honor to every situation and conversation and relationship. So that makes me responsible. Oh no. I'm responsible for me?
Mm-hmm.
That's the hardest person to control.
And responsible has hiding in it, the ability to respond. Like, I require myself to be ready to respond and not just react, not just come unglued because somebody touched my fear or touched my hurt. I actually have a plan of what I'm going to do with me when I run into somebody who's dishonoring or disrespectful or who disagrees with me. Yeah. Which there's lots of that. There's lots of opportunities. And to not have a plan of what you're going to do with yourself when you cross paths with somebody who disagrees with you, that's a mistake. And then to react with dishonor, disrespect, judgment, accusation, that's a bigger mistake.
Yeah, and it's everywhere. The opportunity is everywhere. And having a plan, I mean, you and Brittany would teach on parenting, and one of the big things that you both talk about is, I need a plan because I know that my child's going to come up with something I've never seen before, ever, and they're going to shock me, and they're going to hurt me, and they're going to scare me. And so, what is my plan? Same thing goes for any situation where you're trying to bring responsibility and be responsible for your choices. I don't care if it's a diet. I don't care if it's a phone call with your mother-in-law. I don't care if it's whatever. You have to have a plan ready. And one of the plans could be a goal of connection. Yeah.
There's lots of conversations going on where people have absolutely no intention of connecting with the person they're talking to.
Yeah.
There's no value for a relationship. There's just a value to hear myself talk.
Yeah.
I want to win this argument. I want to put you in your place. I want to hurt you with something, or I just want to listen to myself air out my belief system and feel good about myself, and then get some people that agree with me to go, that was so good. That was the goal. The goal never had anything to do with connecting. So I have to take responsibility for the fact that when I entered this conversation, I had distance as a goal. So all my behaviors are going to create distance. That's why I'm being punishing. That's why I'm being accusational. That's why I'm being judgmental, because it helps me achieve my goal, which was protect my distance from you.
Right.
I know you think different than me. I know you think with that group. I know that I saw something that you wrote. I know, and so as a result, I've come with the goal of distance. And so I'm going to behave in such a way that protects that. That's on me. That's not on you. That says nothing about you. It says everything about me, as does I see that you think something totally different than me. I see what you wrote. I've listened to you before. I know other people that ascribe to that same perspective that you have. And I brought with me the goal to connect, to find some place of connection. It may not be much, but it would be some point of connection. As a result, I brought with me things that actually lower anxiety. I brought respect. I brought value.
Right.
I brought responsibility, meaning that this is my plan. My plan is to create a place where we might be able to connect. Now, it doesn't change your goal. Maybe you brought distance with you, but I have set us both up by lowering anxiety.
Yeah.
Didn't mean, I don't have no control of you. You can continue to shout and hop up and down and make accusations and call me names. Doesn't change the fact. But what I brought with me was a goal to express empathy, to listen, to be honoring. It doesn't mean that I'm going to change my opinion, change my perspective, get the tattoo of your group. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means I've come to lower anxiety. I brought love as fuel, not fear as fuel. And that's all the responsibility I can take is for my half. We don't yet know what you're going to do with your half.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really good advice for people to realize I'm responsible, and so I need to stop and figure out what my goal is. Because I don't know that everyone knows I have a goal of disconnection. I've come, with this is my goal. I don't think most people would say that, but their behavior says something different. My behavior says something different.
Yeah, just look in your toolbox.
Yeah.
You look in your toolbox. What are the tools that you brought to this conversation? What tools do you have in your hand? That tells you what your goal is.
And so the goal to listen so that I can understand you rather than convince you of something different. Put down our phones, put down our preconceived ideas, and listen so that I can understand you. Because once I understand you, I can respond to what you need. But if I don't, I'm just there to give my opinion, then I have a goal of disconnection. And so just how do you do that? How do you listen to understand?
Well, if my goal is to connect, then I'll look at my hand and I'll have a glue gun. I have a glue gun to build connection, to bring us together. If I have a hammer,
glue guns hurt.
I know they can hurt for a little while, but if I have a hammer and a hatchet, there's a pretty great indication that I have no intention of connecting. So the tool I'm going to bring is listening, listening to understand. Like how do I listen past your words and actually hear your heart? How do I sow purpose into making some sort of bridge with you? And I may just learn to go like this while you're talking. Like I'm listening, like I'm open to this conversation with you. Like, okay, all right, oh, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's interesting. I'm open. I'm just going to be open.
And valuing relationship over disagreement. At the end of the day, I care more about you than I care about us agreeing. I care more that we stay connected. Maybe we talked for 4 hours, and we didn't change each other's mind. Hopefully you don't talk for 4 hours because that's too long. But just that idea of I value you as a person, and that's more important to me than you agreeing with me. So I know it's the agree to disagree thing, but it's also that bringing value. I'm not going to walk away and have this attitude. I'm like, no, I do care about you. I do value you.
And I think what you're getting at here is that we have two choices. We can exalt the issue above the relationship and fight to win the issue at the sacrifice of the relationship. Or we can move the value of the relationship and its connection above the issue, and that our love and our respect for one another is much more important to us at the end of the conversation than us agreeing. Like, we will love each other and disagree, or we will disagree and not love each other. We get to choose how this goes.
That's really good. We all have different needs out there, and we feel value in different ways. I remember back when I worked for school ministry, I had students come in like, I'm so upset, and they would fly into my office, and they're just talking, and they're not listening, and you look kind of past the emotion sometimes and say, what do you need? And sometimes that helps diffuse people's emotions.
Very good.
And then you can have a conversation, because I think it helps to recognize that you're in pain. One of the things that's being talked about out there is listen, everybody needs to listen. It's like, okay, I think you will reduce your anxiety if you know I am listening, if you know I have value to hear you, and I say, hey, I'm listening to what you need. I recognize that there's stuff going on with you, and you can kind of reduce your anxiety, and we can have a conversation. I would sure want someone to do that for me. And so that's that empathy for one another. So we're going to continue with these conversations, and we hope you join us.